Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Debates. I'm Ryan. We've got Dwayne. We've got Emmanuel. And the playoffs have been very entertaining. This has been a great NBA postseason. Most of the first round is complete. We've got some game sevens coming up this weekend, which are very exciting. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to go through each series that's complete. We're going to share some takeaways and observations we had for both teams. Take a look at what the offseason looks like for those teams that are out, and then we'll wrap up giving our predictions for the round two matchups that are set. All right, let's start with the two 1-8 matchups. Get those out of the way because those were sweeps. Those were some butt whoopings by both one seeds. We'll start with the Thunder. Swept the Grizzlies 4-0, dominated in games 1 and 2, had a crazy comeback in game 3, and a close win in game 4. So Memphis heads home without a win in the first round. SGA averaged 27, 5, and 6 in the series. OKC's defense was the main story, averaged 10 steals a game. Three-point shooting wasn't that great, but it didn't really matter when you have that kind of defense. So Emmanuel, I'll start with you. Takeaways from this series.
Well, obviously, as you said, our defense absolutely dominated, and it was able to win us games, as we saw in Game 3, where we came back 20 down by 29. I know John Morant got hurt, so obviously that played a factor into the loss. But to show that our defense was able to step up to that amount and to chip away at a 29-point lead going into the half, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. Another takeaway I have here is Jalen Williams. He's stepping up. The questions around him was, can he be a consistent number two or like a second place on the team? He has. Game 1, he averaged 20 points, 5 and 6. He's averaging more than 20 points every game so far in that series. Takeaways for the Grizzlies: there's some locker room issues. I'm sure you've seen the clip or the moment of Jaren Jackson Jr. trying to get a player huddle going on, and a player just walks away ignoring him, and then the others do as well. You fired your head coach, your star player goes down, and now you're watching your team crumble all around you. So there's some huge problems going on there.
To be completely honest, I gave them Grizzlies the game graciously, thinking, you know what, Ja might pop off half third. But when I watched the game and I watched Ja just struggle game after game after game, and it's funny because he said, "Oh, if I didn't get hurt, it'd been 2-2." Brother, no, it wouldn't. It would have stayed the same. Y'all got swept, and I feel like when it comes to because we already know OKC is a great team and it's going to stay that way for the rest of the playoffs. But when it comes to the Grizzlies, when I look at that team, I honestly, who is their leader? Like don't get me wrong, Jared Jackson might be a great dude, but do we really see him be a leader on court? Defensively, yes. Offensively, no. And that talking needs to go both ways. And I didn't see that from him this series. And at the same time, you got Desmond Bain, who's an on and off scorer. I think he had the best PR in the playoffs. No, plus he had the best
Yeah.
plus minus in the playoffs and the worst plus minus in the playoffs.
Yep.
So you get like a 50-50 every, like there's no strict leader even when Ja is there. Ja's not a leader. Don't get me wrong, great player, but he's not a leader whatsoever. And I feel like that should have been obvious going into the playoffs, but somehow, some way, people are like, oh, John Morant could give this team 2 games. No.
Yeah, so that takes me right into this offseason for the Grizzlies. You've been a playoff team for the last 5 seasons, and you've had that core of Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, and Desmond Bain, and they're all entering really their prime seasons here. They've already had all-star seasons, but you look at their age and their contracts, this is their prime. But they have to figure out what to really do with them. Do you think that with this trio, with the right pieces added around them, you have a championship roster? If not, do you look to trade one? What are your thoughts, Dwayne?
It's difficult because you could flip a switch and say that you trade John Morant, try to get 2, 3 players that will solidify you and make you, you know, a playoff team, kind of like the Pistons were, right? Where they had Cade, but Cade is not this huge star like Luca. You know what I'm saying? Or you trade your defensive player of the year in Jared Jackson, in which for me, I don't think trading him would be a good idea because defensive pieces are hard to get in this league. At the same time, you got to deal with Jared Jackson shooting, which has improved, but it's still Jared Jackson shooting the ball. He might switch it. He might doink it off the side of the backboard. You don't know. Honestly, I for me, if I was GM, I'm thinking, let me find something that can go around John and Jared Jackson, or I'm trading one of them.
So my take on this is, I'm gonna be truthful. I have no idea. It's just a mess over there. You got a star player obsessed with guns. I say you keep Desmond Bane. You got no hit coach, and I don't know which direction you guys are planning on going. I say keep John Moran, but then again, he gets injured a lot. Not always. It's not all. Obviously, it's not always his fault, and injuries are something you can't really control. But you see this theme of this injuries, and it really hurts the team a lot. Though they do play better when he's off the court, oddly enough, like they play okay. Well, not better, but they played well. But is it a question of, do you sell high while he's like really good right now, even though he has the injuries, or do you keep him and maybe watch the stock drop and you barely able to get much for him if you do decide to trade him? And Jaren Jackson Jr., you're right. You want to see some better improvements on his three-pointer like Lou Dort did, who was shooting 34% and now is a 43% shooter. So you want to see this kind of improvement from them, but it's a mess over there. It's really just a dumpster fire.
If you look at John Morant's injuries in themselves, most of them, I don't want to say are self-inflicted, but he's trying to go up on people and dunk on people each and every time. And don't get me wrong, I love highlight reels. Highlight reels are great. But if that's causing you to keep on getting injured, you gotta find a way around it.
You got to choose your battles,
Right.
Like
you
like what Russ did.
Yeah, right. No, like Russ was actually a great example. Russ could go up and dunk on someone each and every time. I feel like we know that, right? But do we think that Russ was always smart for, he should always do that? No, because if he does, he has a high probability against sometimes good defenders or people that just don't know he's in the way, or he's just gonna fall. And that's been so common. But yet he keeps on doing it. And he even said he wasn't gonna dunk this year no more, right? Remember? Right. Does a 360, tries to dunk on Wemby. You know what I'm saying?
Dunk on Wemby.
Well, right. But that could have caused an injury. You know what I'm saying? So really, they need to evaluate him.
That player on that line that John Moran got hurt during the Grizzlies game, his teammates set him up.
Oh yeah,
horrible. Just take the layup.
Yeah,
you trying to get a thing, and then Lou Dort tries to turn around and start guarding him because he knows he's probably going to get posterized, and he slips. I mean, bro, just take the easy two. Highlights aren't everything. Y'all trying to win the game.
Yeah.
He got all high and mighty. He's like, yo, we up by 29. Let's make it fancy. And then you got your star player hurt because you wanted to try to be fancy.
Heading across the bracket to the Eastern Conference, the Cavs had a little bit of fun against the Heat. A sweep, 121-100 in Game 1, 121-112 in Game 2, then a 37-point win in Game 3, and a 55-point whooping in Game 4 to send the Heat home. It was all Cavs offense on full display. Donovan Mitchell averaged 23. Evan Mobley gave you 16. Darius Garland gave you 24. Ty Jerome gave you 16 off the bench. This Cavs offense, we knew they were great. We expected this against the Heat team, who is trying to find their identity without Jimmy Butler. Tyler Herro played all right with Bam. The two of them both averaged around 17 points. Bam gave you 17 and 11. So expected from those two guys, but the Heat really without that takeover option. So, Dwayne, your takeaways from this series?
And I'm just going to be quite frank when I say this. Pat Riley needs to understand that he needs to not talk to people a certain way now. I understand the mentality he has, and this all started with the whole talk to Jim. Because a part of the issue is, Jimmy's not traveling with the team. Well, if you look and see, Jimmy's father passed during that time. So he was going to see his father, and that's why he didn't travel with the team. Pat Riley, if you really paid attention, you would see that. So then that doesn't get brought up. And then on top of that, most times, the Heat are a typical AC. Like they're like, okay, yeah, they're always going to be at the bottom of the bracket, probably their first or second season work, right? We know that for them. But why have we known that for them? Jimmy. It wasn't Tyler Hero. It wasn't Bam. All respects to them because Bam is an all-star player. You trading Jimmy for Andrew Wiggins was not enough in the slightest. Like you needed someone that steps up in the playoffs from that Warriors roster. From the Cavs, obviously, masterful display. We expected that they're a much better team. When it comes to Miami, gotta figure something else out. It starts with Pat Riley. Spo's doing the best he can with a not great lineup. Don't get me wrong. I actually really do like Jaime Jaquez. I feel like he should get played more. Besides that, who else in that roster is really going to step up in that Tyler Hero spot? Because Tyler Hero now has to be Jimmy.
Like Ryan basically said, it was a pretty bad series. The Cavs just dominated. There was absolutely no chance the Heat was even going to win a single game in the series. I sure hope that this series is eye-opening for the Heat to realize that they actually need to rebuild and form a proper team now, that they can't just rely on Jimmy Butler to carry them, that we have seen so many years since he came there. They just kept trying to run it back, add small pieces. No, you actually got to actually make some waves with how you're going to build this team. Because if you were there, Jimmy carried y'all to a finals, and then you didn't help him out afterwards. What are we doing here? And then you have Tyler Hero, who I think played really well, and Bam Adebayo, who I think he probably should have stepped up. I was expecting him to really be like the head honcho there once Jimmy was gone. He was not. I was looking at this team. I was turned on the TV. I see 5 players out there and a dog, and the only dog out there was Tyler Hero. I was like, where's the rest of the team?
Speaking of Tyler Hero, he's up for a 3-year, $150 million extension. If they give that to him, he and Bam would take up 55% of the Heat's salary cap. So, Emmanuel, do you give that to him? Like, how do you handle this situation?
That's a lot of money. Dear God. To take up 55% and then expect your team to do well is kind of like a Buck situation. You got paying these big guys, but unlike the Bucks, they don't have the pieces like the Bucks did when this happened. So I say he definitely did earn that extension. However, if you expect your team to win, don't expect it. Don't expect it to win big. So I say give him the extension, but because if you lose him, can you really find you know what? I say no. You can find a replacement for Tyler Hero.
And I agree with you because here's a really good thought, right? You place him on any other of the playoffs teams, is he a number one option?
No.
Not at all. In most sentences, he's a 3, maybe a 4. And that's my point. I don't think you give an extension to a player that you know is a number 2 option or 3 option on other teams. He's a great number 2. He's a great number 3. But do you pay a number 2 or number 3 that much money when you don't have a solidified number 1?
What made me hesitant about it was he's young, so you would lock him down for a long amount of years, and maybe one of those years he's like a true breakout number 1. But if you're just going off of the past years and we're going off of what you have right now, I gotta say no. That means you would probably have to get rid of Bam and do all this other stuff. So I say no. I say Bam's probably more important. He's a really, really great 2-way player. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a jump from Bam Adebayo next year.
Bucks Pacers. This was another series that one team was in control for most of it, and that was the Indiana Pacers. Took them 5 games. Bucks won that 3rd game on the heels of 37 points from both Giannis and Gary Trent Jr. So the big story for the Bucks was Giannis didn't have any help except for Gary Trent. Shout out to him. He had a great series. Giannis averaged 33, 15, and 6. He did literally all he could, but it wasn't enough because the Pacers starting 5 all averaged over 14.5 points a game. I think the lowest of those guys was Aaron Nesmith, who was averaging 14.8. So basically all the starters averaged 15 a game that series. You were also getting 10 points off the bench from TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin. I praised the Pacers' depth big time when we previewed the series. I expected this win. Dwayne, you thought the Bucks could pull it out with Giannis. So what did you see out of this series?
Dame injury, because knowing he would come back, I was like, okay, he's going to be able to get them to at least 7, and Giannis can finish the series. Because honestly, Halliburton's not guarding Dame. Once Dame fell, I was like, the series is probably over. I only said probably because honestly, Giannis is a monster. I was hoping, and as I said previously, I was hoping Kyle Kuzma could step up, in which he did the opposite, which is unbelievable to me. You pick him up, he knows he has to have a big role, and you do nothing for one entire game. And then on top of that, though Gary Trent, here's the thing you got to think about Gary Trent, and especially in that last game. Originally, he was 0 for 8, then started hitting more shots, and then got to 32. Don't get me wrong. What killed the Bucks that entire series was turnovers to a great Pacer defense. But also because the Bucks were just dropping the ball. And to me, that's a fundamental part of basketball. You gotta have your hands ready. So for you to just drop the ball, that frustrates me because what are you thinking about in that moment? Like you can't be thinking about getting the shot up before getting the ball. You gotta grab the ball first. And that happened that's why the Pacers came back in that last game. The Bucks had 3 straight turnovers. They were up by 7. 3 straight turnovers gives them the Pacers the lead. Like, what are we talking about? Giannis not only has no help, he has nothing. The team is not helping him whatsoever. And I feel bad for Dame. Because Dame now got to sit there like, dang, if I was there, I'm taking that shot. And I'm not dropping that ball. I was graciously giving the Bucks this in 7. Obviously, without Dame, I definitely had them losing. Get that man out of there.
I had the Pacers winning this regardless. I didn't care if Dame was out there or not. It wasn't going to be enough. Perfect bracket, by the way, so far, unless the Warriors lose. Pacers have a great performance. We saw it all, like you just said. They averaged 15 points. But Bucks, you need to get Giannis some help. Dame might be done. That we might have just saw the last game Dame ever performs after that Achilles tear. So I don't know what they'll do about that because there's not have been a lot of players that's come back from an Achilles tear and were, obviously still on the same level. They need a better defensive anchor. When you saw the game, you would see them drive into the paint. Giannis would have to rotate over, but he can't rotate fully because because they're each player is averaging 15 points, and you see somebody at the 3-point line ready to shoot. So he can't fully rotate over. So you need somebody else as a defensive anchor to help him out because he can't rotate. And he's literally the whole point of your defense. He's the most valuable piece there. It's Giannis. But if he can't do his job because y'all suck on defense. And you really miss Drew Holiday here because he was an excellent help to their defense and to their offense with 3-point shooting. You let each of their players score 15 points per game. If the Pacers face anybody else, you're not seeing that.
No,
like, if they were facing the Charlotte Hornets, you probably still wouldn't see that. At least Charlotte would be giving them a bit better out there defensively.
Absolutely.
Getting Giannis some help is going to be tricky, though. Taking a look at their future, Dame, as you mentioned, 34 and may not play again until 27 with this injury. They don't own their first-round pick in this draft. They have least favorable first-round swaps in 26, 28, and 30. They don't own any first in 27 and 29. They don't own their own first until 2031. Brooke, Portis, Prince, KPJ, and Rollins are all free agents. They have Kyle Kuzma. And their young core is Tyler Smith, Chris Livingston, and Andre Jackson Jr. So the big question that I'd like to bring to the table is, if you're the Bucks, how much are you considering maybe blowing this up and trading Giannis for a big haul of draft picks?
You imagine a nice dark night. You're seeing your house. You take a reclining chair. You grab a lighter and a jerry can full of gasoline, and you throw it on your house, and you throw the lighter in there, and you watch it all burn down. Because that's exactly what's about to happen here. This Bucks team is going to absolutely burn down. There is absolutely nothing you can do. You're going to have to, unless you pull off a controlled burn. You burn away the pieces that you may be able to move some of the pieces away, trade them for younger guys, and pray Giannis stays happy enough while it happens. Because Giannis isn't exactly that young anymore. So, you got to start thinking about some trades, how to make him happy. But honestly, I see Giannis leaving. I really doubt he stays.
Here's the thing that I see when it comes to Giannis as an individual himself, because this is what's pretty big to the Bucks organization. Giannis is a loyal, to the core. Like even if you look at his interviews, he won't slight anybody on that team, even though the team did not help him a lot. Like, sure, it might be PR, but he really means that stuff. If I'm the Bucks, he could easily look at this as a betrayal of trust. Like, I trusted you to build me a good team, a good roster to help me get back to that finals idea. And yet here we are losing to the Pacers again. If I'm Giannis, I'm leaving. But if I am the Bucks, I am panicking to find something. Like even if it gives him moment,
A glimmer of hope. Something.
If it gives him something for a slight second, like if they make a trade and they become the second in the East, right? If it's something just small for the moment, I'm taking, because each time needs to, make sure he's happy. Because if he isn't, first of all, if he says he requests a trade, it's done.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, it's done and over with. Until he does it, you do anything and everything he asks.
They have absolutely no way of doing that. It's like they have no way of making a fire. They're just there out there sitting in the cold, waiting for the sweet kiss of death for their organization. Because that's all that's happening right now. You can't trade Dame because he's hurt. Kyle Kuzma is probably asking prices probably as low as a granny bar. I don't know what that is, but you
got a player option for Bobby Portis. Giannis has a player option in 2 years. His age 33 offseason.
He gonna be cool.
Yeah.
If they don't get back to the finals in the next 2 years, that's if Giannis honestly lasts next year. But if they don't get in the next 2 years, Giannis is going.
He's gone, bro. There's no next year, 2 years. He's gone. It's basically written this. Yeah, this all season he's gone, bro. You have no trade pieces.
But then who are you getting in return for Giannis?
Get all the draft picks. You don't have any draft picks.
You literally got to start rebuilding, bro. You got once Dame comes back, you trade him.
Who's gonna trade their pick for Giannis? Let's
Spurs.
Oh no! Please don't do that. That would be terrifying.
The Thunder will take him. We'll take him. Thunder will take him. I'll take him. I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want.
So I'll give you whatever you want.
I'll trade you Lou Dort 50% of our first round picks that we have. And Giannis.
That's crazy.
We have a lot of first round picks.
Yeah, but that's not enough.
What do you mean that's not enough?
We
saw Luka get traded for 1 pick. We saw Rudy Gobert get traded for 7. Well,
hold on, Nico might have been on to something because they out. But anyways,
hold on. But Rudy Gobert got traded with 7 picks. Donovan Mitchell got traded for 7 picks. So you're telling me we can't get Giannis for an elite level defender who's really young?
You need another player.
I'll give you Isaiah Joe.
Another elite.
Aaron
player.
Wiggins.
Elite.
Elite? Bro, we're giving you 50% of our first round
SGA
picks.
for Giannis straight up.
Hell
Absolutely.
no.
Absolutely.
I would seriously just cry in a corner.
That's terrible. The Warriors could pick him up though.
Okay, how about this? We trade Lou Dort, Isaiah Hartenstein, and we give you how many picks you want.
Okay.
I rock with that. I feel like they're going if I'm the Bucks, right? Mm-hmm. I'm asking for Chet. I'll do Chet and Alex Caruso in 2 picks. If I'm the Bucks.
2 first round picks, but Chet is so young and he's literally looking like a next point. KD. He's looking like KD though. Oh my goodness.
That's a trade-off. You win right now though. You're definitely winning right now if you have Shea and Giannis. So that's a win right now.
That's a nasty duo.
Oh my goodness.
Two best two-way players in the league.
It's better than Chet and Shea.
Don't get me drooling, bro. Don't get me drooling out here with this, bro. Oh my goodness. My one
takeaway from the series, back when we covered the trade deadline, I was trashing that Middleton for Kuzma trade. Kuzma gave you 5.8 points per game this series. Last year, Chris Middleton in the Pacers series,
Like 20.
he averaged 24.7 points per game, gave you a 42-point performance, gave you a 29-point performance.
Mm.
I'm just saying, Chris Middleton wouldn't have
played
let that
good
happen in
defense.
5. Knicks, Pistons. Got to see the Knicks win in 6. They won the first game. Pistons answered back and won the second. Knicks won game 3 and 4, and Pistons locked in to win game 5, but the Knicks were able to hold them off in game 6. Most of these games were very close. I'm seeing 2, 3, 4-point differentials in a lot of these games, especially late in the series. So a very impressive one by the Pistons for their first time in the playoffs for a while. Cade Cunningham gave you 25, 8, and 8. Brunson gave you 31, 4, and 8. Cat gave you 19 and 10. The Knicks' experience and their fourth quarter play gave them the edge in this one. But Emmanuel, what were your main takeaways?
Honestly, this game the series probably should have went to 7 if we're going to count that 3-point shot. That was really a foul. Honestly, it's been really funny seeing Stephen A. Smith really happy about this because he's a New York Knicks fan. But the playoff series as a whole it was amazing. Every game to watch was pure and utter absolute enjoyment of basketball. I'm speaking to you, Pistons fans. Stand proud. You were strong. You guys played against the New York Knicks after not being in the playoffs in a very long time. And if it was maybe any other Eastern team, you probably would have won the series. If you went against the Bucks, I would probably take you guys over the Bucks. You guys were really good.
Right.
You guys did really well. You got promising young core: Jalen Doran, Cade Cunningham, the Thompson brother. I don't remember his first name. Dennis Schroeder. I gotta give my flowers to Dennis Schroeder. He played some excellent defense out there. He really stepped up. But yeah, this was a great series for the Pistons. There's no crying. This is literally like, wait until next year. We're gonna come back and we're gonna spank y'all.
Quite literally enjoyed the series, and the part of the series that I liked the most was the physicality. Even though there were some egregious missed calls and here and there, I really liked how fit, and this is that's East Coast basketball. Like, I really enjoyed that. At the same time, one thing I did not like, and this was on both sides, is the sloppiness. There were a lot of sloppy plays, especially going into the fourth quarter, where for both teams, especially the Knicks, you should lock in. Now, don't get me wrong, with the Pistons, that's because they're a new team. Last year they were the worst team. Now they're in the playoffs. It's a big change. Granted, they're going to have some mistakes here and there, but the Knicks, I should expect less turnovers. But overall, love the series. I mean, me and I agree with me. Like, Pistons fans, you have literally nothing to worry about. Like, this is a great squad. All it takes is time. And Pistons fans have been waiting for quite a while.
You've got your core established. Cade in his first ever playoff series gives you 25, 8, and 8. You know, in that one game, you misses that game-winning opportunity. Like, now he's got that fire. He's not missing the next one he gets. Tobias Harris giving you 15 and 7. That's my guy. He wasn't the problem. So really, the question is, what do you add to this team? The veterans really stepped up for them this year. Your free agents are some key pieces. Beasley is a free agent. He was one of the best 6 men. Schroeder, as Emmanuel talked about, he's a free agent, as is Hardaway. So some veteran guys that really helped out with that youthful team. All of them not too expensive, and the Pistons can probably bring a few of them back. You personally, Dwayne, what do you want to add to this team?
To be honest, I don't think anything. If anything, you add a big man shooter. You add a power forward or center who can shoot the ball. Because you have Asor Thompson, who isn't necessarily a shooter at that shooting guard position, and that takes away a little bit more shooting. And then you have Beasley come in, but you like Beasley coming in at the bench. Keep everybody that you originally had. So re-sign all those vets, 100%. They deserve their money, and I feel like they played beautifully this series. But
So my thing for the Pistons is basically what Dwayne said. Keep the main people. Schroeder will probably be cheap. He's not going to get that 3-year, however much it was from the Lakers originally offered that he passed up on. Honestly, one thing I got to say you should add, though, is another center. Because you saw in the series, Paul Reed and Jalen Doran got into foul trouble. leads them to be really careful, and they are not allowed to be as dominant as they are with rim protection, which was really a weakness for the Pistons during the game, where you see them drive in and they can't really do much. They would either have to step out of the way or just go straight up and, be careful because they're in foul trouble. So I say you either help that, and maybe Paul Reed help them develop more. Those two guys, like I said, what? No, Paul Reed? He did pretty.
Basketball Paul.
No, I love B-ball Paul, but when I watched him in that series, he didn't play well when he was
I think he did well for defensively. I mean, he's not really there for offense.
But they need that for offense. Like
I don't really think they need another offensive player. You got a lot of these. Yeah, but for Paul Reed to be coming off the bench, he's not a starter. You got him coming behind Jalen Duren.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. His play in this series didn't impress me coming off the bench.
That's fair. He's still young, still developed.
They're also getting Jaden Ivey back next year. He was hurt for the playoff run. So there's another youthful guy.
Forgot about him.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Knicks have a date with the Celtics, who took down the Magic in 5. And Celtics in control most of that series. The Magic were able to win a close one in Game 3, but that was all they could muster up. Magic held Tatum to 17 in the first game, but it didn't matter because Derek White gave you 30 on 7 threes. Tatum didn't play the second game. Doesn't matter because Jaylen Brown gave you 36. That's just how the Celtics roll. Anybody can lead that team in scoring. Tatum averaged 31. Paulo, though, 29, 8, and 4. So we know what he can do. And he showed up for the Magic. So they've made the playoffs the last 2 years, the Magic. First round exits both times. So, Emmanuel, what do the Magic need to do to kind of get over this first round hump?
They need a guard that can shoot. They are 29th in 3-point shooting, only hitting 31.8 percentage of the threes, and they're only slightly better than the Lakers were in 2024-2025 season. So they need a guard. They need some help with Paolo Banchero. This league now, you have to at least be able to hit 3-pointers at a moderate rate. Back in the day, you could probably get away with this if he was an elite level defense and could score through the mid-range. But teams now, they will bomb you with threes, and you won't be able to beat them that way. The Magic, however, don't have that good of a defense. So what they need to do is start gearing their teams to a more moderate offense. Paolo Banchero, you build around him, you get him whatever he needs because he's a dog. He's a dog. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Orlando needs a better number 2 than Franz Wagner. Franz is not bad because Franz was giving out work. I do
average 25.
Right. Yeah. He still was giving out work. But I think I don't really know a good example. Like I of course you would love to say a LaMelo or something like that, but obviously I don't think they have the trade pieces nor the cap space for that. But you need a better number 2. And don't get me wrong, I love Jalen Suggs and I love Cole Anthony. But unfortunately, their hustle matches their defense, but their offense lacks. I'm not saying trade them, but if they were pieces that you needed in a trade to get someone big like that, you do it. It's rough, and I would hate it. If I'm the Magic, I would hate to trade Jalen Suggs, especially because that dude puts his heart and soul out for that. Just any team he might play for, and especially with y'all, it would just be great. But obviously, get them those pieces. And for the Celtics, they're the Celtics. I would keep in mind for the Celtics, you cannot play soft. They've been getting bumped around a lot, and might be injured one day, not there the next. You can't afford that in these playoffs, especially in these. You cannot afford that. If you get bumped, you got to get right back up. And who is it? Joe Mazzulla letting Tatum stay on the full, get up. That's the mentality you need to have, and especially going against a team that is now going to be super physical.
Yeah, I wanted to see a little more just off the bench from the Magic, considering they were without Suggs and Moritz Wagner. There's depth for you that's going to stretch out the whole team. One thing, you mentioned they were 29th in 3-point shooting. They were 30th in assists per game. They lack someone that can really distribute the ball. Franz Wagner led the playoffs with 5.5 assists per game. That's great, but he's your 6'10" forward, and me personally, for this team, I would want to see a really good point guard that can distribute the ball and kind of be that secondary or third option. Doesn't have to be a great scorer, but dish it out because they need assists. They're lacking assists. Even their guards don't average a lot of assists. So that's something I would look at. Dwayne, do you have a thought on that?
Can I trade for Trae Young? That's a great. I'm not gonna lie though, that's actually a really good acquisition.
You would have to give up a lot, though.
Why not though?
Yeah.
Like Paolo's gonna. Don't get me wrong. Once Paolo gets free, and if they don't do something, he gonna leave. He's not one of them type players of I'm gonna stay and we gonna ride it. He's not. He's gonna be like, y'all not winning. I'm sick and tired of losing. So you need to get something. Their in the paint defense wasn't bad, but their perimeter defense is what's made them so far worse. So because of that, you sacrifice a perimeter defense in maybe Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Isaac and a few picks for Trae Young. That is that bad?
I will rebuttal with a less drastic approach and a different player. How about CJ McCollum off of the Pelicans? He's a point guard. He's a veteran. He knows how to dish the ball out. He works well with Damian Lillard. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's the leader that team could have. He knows how to pass. Like he's literally everything they need, and it's not picking up an all-star, and you won't have to give up too much because the Pelicans are going to be in rebuild mode.
Either or.
Those are both good options. Yeah, I would love them to do one of those moves. All right. Lastly, Wolves, Lakers. This was such a fun series. A lot of fun games. And we saw this Wolves team really emerge, and we all picked the Wolves. The consensus in the sports media was Lakers in 5, but in fact, it was Wolves in 5. So they win the first game. Lakers came back to win the second, and then it was 3 straight dubs for the Timberwolves. Ant-Man 26-8-6. Julius Randle 22-5-4. Lakers still played well. You had 30 a game from Luka. You had 25 a game from LeBron. But their first postseason together ends in a first-round exit. So, Dwayne, your takeaways from this series?
Many times on that court, Anthony Edwards was the best player on that court. And here's why I say this. Luka, sure, best offensive player on that court. No doubt, right? But I saw Anthony Edwards dog LeBron many possessions. Just will be trying to defend LeBron being 4 inches shorter than he is, a lot less weight, but pushing LeBron. And LeBron's looking for a foul call. He's guarding Luka. Now, don't get me wrong. Luka averaged 30, right? But we got to consider he's the best player on his team. And then on top of that, he's playing against the best player, offensive player on their team. You are definitively the best player on that floor. And we saw that for most of the series, 100%. And that shouldn't be a hot take. Ant was the best player on that floor. And obviously the Lakers don't have a center. You got rid of AD, who was probably only remotely center. Obviously AD is mostly a power forward. But you got rid of all that paint presence. And then guess what? Oh no, Rudy Gobert is now cooking us. Like, how do you get it to that bad? I'm sorry, you don't play Jackson Hayes. Now, JJ Redick's another whole situation. When it comes to this series, to be honest, I was surprised to see that the Wolves won so fast. But at the same time, I'm not surprised that the Lakers got eliminated.
Yeah, shoot. No more parties in LA. I must admit, I was wrong about the Lakers. I thought they would be legit contenders. I was wrong. Because, dear Lord Almighty, do they need a center? I mean, you let Rudy Gobert actually realize he's a center and can actually do center-like things. Because in that last game, he dominated. And you see Jackson Hayes was doing a pretty well job when he was out there. And we don't play him. Obviously, I think that's a coaching mistake on JJ Redick. It's his first year coaching, and I know he's a player, so I know he has insight on this. And I know that next year you will see something different, and I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about the Lakers. Okay, that's my take on the Lakers. Now let's look at the Wolves. Run from it, hide from it, Anthony Edwards arrives all the same. OnlyFans, 2 cans, Bam Bam Cam, Wolves in 5. They dominated that series. Oh my goodness. Anthony Edwards, dog. I mean, he was talking so much trash. It was really physical. I love to see it. This team that they built with the Wolves is special. I really feel like they can be a serious threat to whoever they play next. Thank God it's not the Thunder.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Julius Randle. Coming into this, I know I had the Julius Randle's finna sell type idea, but he did quite the opposite and lifted them up quite a lot. My fault. I wasn't familiar with your game. Like I knew you were a bona fide scorer. I knew you could do things, but not efficiently. And here we are. Props to Julius Randle. Maybe that trade wasn't a bad trade.
Yeah, my one takeaway for the Wolves, this was the first kind of Timberwolves basketball I'd watched this year. So I really enjoyed this team and I love that starting group. I think they've got a deep team. You got guys coming off the bench, good defensive players. It seemed though that they were kind of living and dying by that three-pointer. The game 2 when they lost, they shot 20% from 3. They shot well games 1, 3, and 4. Game 5, they shot 14% from 3. Anthony Edwards was 0 for 11. Now they were able to win because Dwayne, your boy Rudy Gobert, was the tallest guy on the court, and he gave you 24 points or 27 points, 24 rebounds. But that's easy to do when there's not really a center guarding you. This Timberwolves team is going to shoot well more often than not. But I worry in a future series where Gobert's going to at least have someone his height guarding him. Maybe not someone that's a great defender, but at least he's going to have a hand in the face and someone else going for a rebound. If you're not shooting, well, how else are you going to be able to put the ball in the basket? So that's just something to look out for in a future series. If it's a team like the Warriors next series, you got like Quentin Post on them. Maybe that's a little easier. The Rockets, Sengun and Adams. But later on, if you're going up against Chet or someone in the finals, it might be a little harder for them to score outside of the three-pointer. But as for Anthony Edwards, I think the Lakers kind of wanted him to distribute the ball, try to force him to become a playmaker, and that was a mistake. He's not a guy known for assists. I think he averages like 4 in his career. The most he's averaged is 5 a game. He averaged 6.2 this series. So that was a mistake on their end. They wanted to challenge him, see if he can become a playmaker, and he did just that. So those are my main takeaways. Lakers offseason, obviously they need a center, but is there anything else to add to this duo of Luka and LeBron, Emmanuel?
Obviously, right here, like we was just talking about the Bucks, we were just talking about who they're going to lose this season, and I think maybe Lopez off the Bucks would be a good and serviceable center who they need. And then my other alternative, if they do not get him, maybe even Clint Capella as a bench player or something, but they need a big man, something to be a defensive anchor down low. But thanks to the addition of Luka Doncic to this team, they have extended their timeline a bit and still have the championship window open. I'm not too scared. They have good young players. You got Luka, you got LeBron. LeBron, though he may not have like the greatest series ever, he was 40 and he was still giving you some elite level defense and some really good offense. The only thing that really sold you was you have no center. So you really got to address that this offseason.
I definitely think the center acquisition is going to be a big must because you look throughout the series, though, the Wolves, they shoot a lot of three-pointers. The easiest things that the Wolves has were layups, which to me is unacceptable basketball. There's no way a layup should be you need someone to be there, and to have nobody there is absurd. So center is needed. At the same time, we're just looking at their total offseason. I don't see them doing anything. As an organization, they don't seem to be the wisest. I mean, they picked up Luka, extending their timeline. Other than that, I don't see them doing anything else.
Yeah, I think if anything else, I'd just add some more depth. The bench wasn't giving you that many points. It was kind of up to what's Luka and LeBron going to give you and Austin Reeves. Rui Hachimura shot really well and stepped up, but you were lacking some more scoring options as opposed to the Timberwolves bench, which was playing much better. All right, so round 2 predictions. Quick look at these series, and then we'll wrap it up. First up, Cavs Pacers. Pacers won the season series. They took 3 of 4 from the Cavs in the regular season, right? Dwayne, who you got?
I got Cavs, but I got Cavs in about 6. I have because this Pacers team is on fire. Hard to slow a team like that down. The Cavs are not necessarily on fire because they had a sweep that was a little too easy. So coming into this, I feel like it's going to be 1-1, and then the Cavs are going to start to click.
Yeah, I got Cavs in 6. They're gonna have to work a little harder for this one compared to what they did against the Magic. Obviously, I don't see the Pacers being able to beat the Cavs with that great defense and that great offense because they're really well balanced. In fact, I have the Cavs going all the way in the playoffs, but
Yeah, I've also got Cavs in 6. I like this matchup. They're the two best fourth quarter teams this season. So they're good at controlling the game and staying in it late game, breaking away or coming back, whatever they need to do. They're also two of the deepest teams, in my opinion. I think the Pacers match up really well with the depth. Obviously, the Cavs have a little more star power in their starting lineup, but we talked about the Pacers and all their starters averaging 15. So I think they can stick with the Cavs, even if they're not scoring as much. They're going to be able to keep up with them, and I think they match up well, but Cavs are just a better team. Knicks and Celtics. Celtics swept the Knicks in the regular season 4-0. Manuel, who you got?
oh, let me just say this right now: Brunson Burner, no Turner, Timmy Turner, Celtics in 5. That's all I gotta say to that. They can't hang with the Celtics' dominance. I also don't think the Knicks starters are going to be able to play the entire time like they have been doing for the Knicks Pistons series, where they're running their starters ragged. I have a feeling the Celtics are actually going to want to push the pace to tire out their starters to force Tibbs to actually make a substitution, to actually work in their bench players. Because realistically, having your players or your starters play 42 minutes or however minutes like the entire game is not sustainable in the playoffs. Realistically, it's not sustainable. So if the Celtics start pushing the pace, they're going to get tired. That means there's going to lead to mistakes, lack of defensive intensity, and you can't risk that when you have to go against the Celtics, who have depth, so they're fine with substituting out their starters. You got this elite level starter lineup with Jason Tatum, Porzingis, and everybody else. So I don't see how the Knicks can overcome this, and I got Celtics in 5.
Celtics in 6. It's only because I think Jalen Brunson's going to have just a few games that are, undeniably like, oh wow, but it's because he's going to shoot a lot. The reason why I say because he's going to shoot out, is because he has Drew Holiday on. Don't get me wrong, Asur Thompson is a great defender, but then you're now running into Drew Holiday, and then on top of that, on their bench they got Derek White, and then if you want to switch that, you got Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown on. Like this team is very switchable when it comes to defense. That can only last you so long if you're one of the mainly paid players scoring. At the same time, I think scoring wise, that Cat is going to have a better series. I feel like around 23, 24 points because of the need to pass the ball now for the Knicks.
Yeah, I got Celtics in 5. I think the Knicks are going to win one in the Garden, but that's about it. I mean, I agree with the Towns take. He actually played well, even though they lost all 4 games of the regular season. He did well against Porzingis and Horford, so you might see maybe they try to switch Tatum on him and just kind of attack different guys because he has been guarding bigs like throughout the year. They do that, like to switch it up on him. But I think that's really their only advantage. Emmanuel, you said they want to pick up the pace in the Knicks. The Knicks are going to want to try to slow down the Celtics. Make sure you're not trailing by too much because if you're out, you're kind of out of it. Yeah, I think they could pull out one, but this should be an easy one for the Celtics, and I will enjoy it. All right, so very quickly, 2 Game 7s coming up. We've got Denver Clippers tonight. You've got Golden State and Houston, I think, Sunday night. Give your prediction for the Game 7, and then who wins that second round matchup depending on who wins. Get it? Okay, so Wolves will either be facing Golden State and Houston or Houston. Dwayne, who wins the Game 7 and who wins the second round?
Warriors win Game 7, and then it's going to be Wolves at 4.
Oh.
Wolves in 4.
Oh.
In my original bracket, I got the Warriors winning, and then I have the Warriors. obviously Timberwolves, and I got the Warriors winning it.
Golden State, I have winning this game 7. It's hard for me because, like you said, Emmanuel, it's like the Warriors, they're kind of been like the Chiefs the last few years. It's like it doesn't matter what's like, you can't count them out in the playoffs, it's just because it's like they're the Warriors. Curry and Butler, two of the best playoff players in the last decade. It's going 6 games. I'm going Warriors just because I feel like.
Wait. Can I hold on? Let me take back my pick. I was looking at the wrong bracket. I was looking at your bracket. You have the Warriors beating the Timberwolves. I have the Timberwolves beating the Warriors. So I'm gonna go against the Warriors because I hate the Warriors and I feel like the overall team.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, I have Golden State in 6. All right, OKC either faces Clippers or Nuggets. Emmanuel, who wins game 7, and who wins the second round?
I got the Nuggets winning this game 7. I have the Nuggets winning, and then I have the Nuggets getting belt by the Thunder in that very next series.
How many games? And how many games?
I'm gonna go Thunder and maybe you know what? Maybe I'll go Thunder in 6. But when the Thunder win, it's gonna be a blowout.
And Thunder in 7.
Ooh. Nuggets win game 7, and then OKC takes them down in 5. All right, that is all we have today. We'll be watching those game 7s. That'll be exciting, and we'll be back to talk about how the second round goes at some point. So thanks for watching. See you next time.